whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on do our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right? I'll holla. Peace. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why a trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. That was The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. That's available on Amazon Kindle and coming soon to paperback, ladies and gentlemen. We're working on that right now. So, shout out to you all who are watching us. We are live, and I'm coming at you with 5. Welcome to an amazing live stream with yours truly, Gavin Richard, only on channel gboot2786 and Gavin Richard at Facebook and Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we discussed the following. Darrell Brooks convicted on 81 counts, including 6 counts of murder. Stacey Abrams supports reparations, sort of. Continued Kanye West's fallout. Of course, we... We also have, sorry about that. We'll also be talking about uh, fighting against censorship and a few other topics, ladies and gentlemen. So stick back and relax and enjoy the broadcast we have on Brother Shawn James of uh, Stop Simping in Cyberspace fame. He's also written several other books, and he has The Woman Crisis, which will be available soon, I believe coming this November. So you please want to support him by getting that book, pre-order it right now. It's available wherever you can pre-order. Uh, of course, you can support this platform. We ask you to donate to the Cash App and PayPal and Zelle at the bottom. We also ask if you, as you know, our channel is not monetized. We also ask, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please if you would like to, you can purchase some Naughty's Creole seasoning blend. That's our seasoning blend. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Naughty's goes great with every dish. We're actually doing some vendorships in the city in the next couple of months. I'll give you some dates on that. And also, ladies and gentlemen, of course, our music. We have our songs, our featured song, Gotta Get On Up, and Video Soul. So we're going to go ahead and get started, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get on up. So there goes that copyright strike.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we're going. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Turn back, we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the body hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's all dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving. Start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor.
Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Gotta get on up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Gavin Reshaw Presents Random Topic Thursdays here on channel G Boot 2786. We want to go ahead and welcome you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I know he's getting on up. Your baby always dances to that song. I love it. Danielle, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go ahead and bring our brother and friend of the channel on, Mr. Shawn James, aka Mr. Bookham, because he's writing always books till the end. Let's bring Shawn in. What's going on, Shawn?
What's going? I'm good, Gavin. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. You ready to start?
Yeah.
All right. When will the Woman Crisis be available?
The Woman Crisis will be available on, actually, it's going to be available on Halloween in paperback, but you can still pre-order it on Kindle. I finally finished all the editing on the Woman Crisis, and I'll be ready to put it on sale for Halloween.
All right. That's what's up. So Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. So
That's when you'll be able to pick up your paperback copy.
y'all go ahead and get your pre-orders in now. All right. And if you like paperback, go to him. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. We begin with this story. Darrell Brooks, was convicted on 76 counts, including 6 counts of murder. Brooks, of course, was accused of intentionally running people over, killing 6 people, and see if I pronounced this correctly. This was at the Waukesha, Wisconsin Christmas Parade back in 2021. 6 people died and at least another 61 others were injured when a red Ford Blazer SUV driven by Brooks tore through the holiday parade trial hearings just days before the trial. Among the changes were 2 changes in Brooks' plea of not guilty to not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect, also known as an insanity defense, and then a withdrawal of that defense strategy. Now, I was actually watching this. Some clips of it, and you already know, because remember when we talked about that fool up in Florida who killed his daughter and his girlfriend tried to kill his son and represented himself and was just outbursting the whole time? Well, this was kind of that case to the 10th power. So I'm going to go ahead and play this from CBS News, ladies and gentlemen. We got that copyright disclaimer up for me. Let's go ahead and play this. We don't have any volume. I hate these ads. We don't need to see this. You want to see be on Viking, Shawn?
No, thanks.
The Viking cruise. This looks nice. I can't wait to do that till I turn 60. Can't wait till I turn 60.
King.com. We, the jury, find the defendant, Darrell E. Brooks, guilty.
Darrell Brooks sat silently with his head bowed as the judge read the jury's verdict.
Guilty
on all 76 criminal counts.
Guilty of first-degree intentional homicide.
6 counts, 1 for each of the 6 men, women, and child he killed. after he drove his SUV into a Christmas parade in Waukesha last November. More than 60 others were injured.
Mr. Brooks, you're interrupting me.
During the trial, Brooks represented himself,
Your life is not on the line. Mine is.
at times clashing with the judge and even stripping off his prison garb.
We had videograph evidence of his behavior all up and down that crime scene.
Today, with victims' families by her side, District Attorney Sue Opper said they're satisfied the jury held Brooks accountable after just 3 hours of deliberations.
What do you think about the length of time that the jury took to deliberate?
We think the verdict was fair. The timing was spot on.
The medical stuff isn't over.
Ryan Conkey's 12-year-old niece, Jesselyn Torres, has undergone several surgeries since she was struck by Brooks.
What do you think this decision will mean for the healing of families like yours and other families?
I think it's a huge step forward. You know, I think this gives everybody an opportunity to have some sort of closure.
Conkey says he and his family have had trouble sleeping. The kids were afraid of fast-moving cars and have just started venturing back into crowds. A hearing to set Darrell Brooks' sentencing date is scheduled for Monday. Nora?
Roxana Saberi, thank you.
This was a bizarre case, to say the least. And I mean, it was just a bunch of outbursts over and over again. I don't know why he wanted to represent himself, other than he think he could get his point across. But you know, the old saying is, an attorney who represents himself as a client who represents himself as an attorney has a fool for a client. If you're going in there, you especially have no training as a lawyer, and especially if it's a murder trial, I would advise you not to do that, to represent yourself, have an attorney represent you. Of course, it is your right to do so, but I warn against that behavior. Shawn, what did you think of what you were observing?
Well, I've followed this case ever since this started. I think I even did a video on it for the Man Crisis. And this was the appropriate verdict for this whole case, because this individual, he just went and did this deliberately with malice aforethought. He had no regard for the lives of all of those innocent people, and he led to not only the deaths of these 6 people, he injured lots of people, all because he was in his feelings about a political situation, and that's really egregious. Yes, you can have your feelings regarding the organization Black Lives Matter or whatever political issues you have, but you don't have a right to take the lives of innocent people in order to make a political statement. Now, this guy, again, he just showed depraved indifference as related to the lives of innocent people, and the way he was behaving was just really extremely egregious. And the only outcome we could get for this verdict, based on what we saw in video of him driving his vehicle through that crowd, was this conviction. And when I look at this individual, he's just like a guy who I saw back in the 90s, whose name was Colin Ferguson. Now, back in the 90s, we had a guy, Colin Ferguson, who decided, because he was upset about not being able to get opportunities because of racism, he thought he had a right to get on a Long Island Railroad train and participate in a mass shooting. And after he participated in this mass shooting, he decided he was going to represent himself in the same way this individual did. And this guy, he was also a fool for a client, because he also wound up getting convicted and wound up getting life in prison. And this is what's possibly going to happen to this same individual, the same thing that happened to Colin Ferguson over 30 years ago. He's possibly going to wind up with a life sentence, and he's possibly going to have to wind up dealing with Bubba and Tiny as they're out here trading him for commissary. But this is the outcome he made happen, because he had no regard for people's human lives, and he decided to take his issues about race and politics, take them to the extreme, and the way he took them to the extreme put so many people's lives in jeopardy and wound up traumatizing them for life. So this is the right verdict for this case, because what this man did was on video. We have hard evidence of it, and he has had his day in court, and he wound up making this outcome because of his whole getting caught up in his feelings. And if anything, this case is a lesson in learning how to navigate through your emotions. Yes, you can have the feelings, but you better think before you act because there are consequences for your actions.
Now, he was trying to use a sovereign citizen's defense. Like, what jurisdiction does the court have over me? And I've heard people say that before. Let me just say this. The Constitution of the United States, guys, is the law of the land. It's recognized as the supreme law of the land, meaning no law is above it. And it means that all persons born, especially all persons born in the United States or its territories, are subject to its laws and the laws of the respective states that you live in and you're born in. So that theory of I'm the sovereign citizen, you have no jurisdiction over me, this is a lesson that tells you don't try it in court if you get in trouble.
No.
He also said, I think he was trying to say that his car had malfunctioned. That was part of his defense, but then it just kept switching to that to an insanity defense to he withdrew that plea just so it just kept changing.
Yeah, but he kept changing the pleas, hoping that he could persuade the jury, but that really didn't show us that he was mentally ill. It just showed us he was desperate. And again, if his car was malfunctioning, they held it in for evidence and objected. They could get a mechanic to go check out that vehicle to find out if it was malfunctioning.
Yeah, he drove his Ford Escape into the parade. Yeah, and you see the kid right there. I don't think that was a child that was injured. As I'm looking at it, but yeah, he just
knowledge that certain people feel that you should hear and shouldn't hear, disguised under the color of law. The fact of the matter is, just like I did with my opening statements, I don't have a well-prepared or rehearsed speech. I didn't look in the mirror and say certain points to myself over and over again to make sure I have them right or anything like that. I've chosen to speak from the heart in my opening statements, and now I'm going to speak from the heart. What you won't hear me do is argue facts. And the reason you won't hear me argue facts is because I believe that it takes away from what should be recognized. The tragedy of this event, it should be recognized. Trying to argue facts of this, facts of that, I'm not gonna waste your time doing that. It's a little emotional. I apologize for the long pause.
He's screwed.
It's hard to keep everything together emotionally. And honestly, I don't believe that I have any more tears left.
Same thing Colin Ferguson did.
No, don't. No tears left.
He just killed his own case.
Mostly. And that should not be lost on anyone. It shouldn't be taken away.
They says his car malfunctioned, but they said he kept driving even after the police told him to pull over.
It's a lot of people that are healing, that are attempting to heal. That opens the door to talk about forgiveness for a little bit. For every healing process, there comes a forgiving process. It's not an easy thing for anyone. What you've been hearing from the prosecution, not to take anything away from them, but let's call it what it is. You've been hearing a lot of rerun. Same things over and over and over. No different than when you turn on the radio and you first hear that song that you don't like when you first hear it, but they play it so much that eventually you start saying it, the words to yourself before you even realize it. And then you sit and you go, I hate that song. Why am I singing it? That's what's been happening. Rerun over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
I think I've had enough.
Attempting to make things stick in your head that simply aren't true.
He's killed his case. Yes, plead the fifth. But yeah, he's facing life for just each count of murder. So he's not going to be getting out anytime soon. And, unless he succeeds on an appeal process, man, I don't know what. You didn't represent you can't use the argument, well, I represented myself. Well, you waived that right once the judge told you. If the judge told you it was a bad mistake or told you you don't have to, you can get an attorney, you didn't do it. Yeah, unless there's some evidence we don't know about, but hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, just plead the fifth. All right. Next thing I want to talk about, Shawn, of course, is continuing fallout over Kanye West and his remarks from a few weeks back when he said he was going to go DEFCON on the Jews. And then, of course, we know that he was on Piers Morgan's show just this last week where he was talking about his controversial remarks. Now it had been announced also, Shawn, he was spotted inside Skechers administrative building and was trying to talk with him, and apparently he was escorted out of the building, according to the company. Skechers, of course, is owned by a Jewish, if I'm not mistaken, a Jewish family. So West's visit to Skechers comes a day after Adidas ended its partnership with the musician with immediate effect. Adidas put the partnership under review in early October after he wore a White Lives Matter t-shirt in public. The Anti-Defamation League categorizes the phrase as a hate slogan used by white supremacist groups, including the KKK. West said, I can say anti-Semitic shit and Adidas can't drop me. They're in a tirade against Jews on this. I'm reading from CNN Business. This is what they say. Tirade against Jews on the Drink Champs podcast. He also threatened on Twitter to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Well, other companies have pulled back from West, including Gap, Foot Locker, and TJ Maxx. However, here's the interesting thing with Adidas. A lot of people may not know this, but they're even saying they're still going to sell the Yeezy brand. It's just not going to have the name Yeezy on it. They're still going to sell the same style of shoe, according to what I'm reading. And if he has a patent on that, and I'm not aware of, of course, because it's his design of his shoe, then obviously he's got to be compensated for that. Now, he was kicked out of Skechers' offices uninvited. Now, at least that's what they're saying. Another thing too, they dropped his gospel group. Did you hear? I don't know if you all heard about this one. Peloton drops Kanye West music from their platform, just continuing downfall as a result of his remarks. Of course, he can't tweet or go on Instagram. He went on JP Morgan Chase. They actually decided to end business with him. His agency has dropped him. Now, something very interesting that did happen too, Donna Academy, which he created, which is a private Christian group. They didn't exactly cut ties with Ye, but it did reportedly, they shut down October 27th for the rest of the school year. The town is working to confirm the status of the prep school. So they shut down October 27th. We intend to begin afresh in September of 2023, and we are confident that our scholars will continue to advance as the creative innovators, courageous influencers, and academic leaders of the next generation. Wait, how you shut down a damn school? That makes sense to you?
No.
They even removed his wax figure in a London location. Now, I don't like, let me just say this. I don't like doing this dogpiling stuff. I'm not a fan of Kanye West, but what you notice, Shawn, and this is my perspective of it, is that all of the people that have condemned him, the people that are cutting ties with him, it's about the remarks he made about Jewish people. It is not about the remarks he made about George Floyd. Have you noticed that?
I did notice that.
You're not being suspended for that. So I'm not condoning what he said, but if you have people that are automatically, I've never heard of all the racist stuff I have heard from some Jewish entertainers, people like Mel Gibson who have said racist stuff, even things that were anti-Semitic. People like Howard Stern, who's been known to make racist remarks, who compared Kanye West to Hitler. You never saw anyone. I never saw any of these companies or heard of them cutting ties with them. Mel Gibson was still allowed to direct movies, even though he was put on an island for a little while, but then Robert Downey Jr., and I played the video, he asked everybody to forgive him and bring him back. Let's not forget, you have the New York Friars Club, where they have been known, obviously, to do a lot of racist jokes. You know, and I know it's a Friars Club, it's a roast, but remember what happened with Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson in that roast for Whoopi there, where he got in blackface. We've been known to do stuff like that, and that was created by people in that community. Now, that's not an indoctrination on everybody, because I wouldn't want anybody to be judgmental of my people for one person or so forth. However, we have to talk about the history of racism that comes from that community, just like we talk about it from the alphabet community, just like we're talking about it from even from the Hispanic community that have been accused of being racist towards blacks, that have disdain for black people. White supremacy is global. And to a degree, by them doing this, is kind of proving, I don't know if you want to say it's proving his point, but I think it's opening a lot of eyes. Let's just put it that way. Shawn, what did you think of him? First off, what do you think of, do you think this is economic warfare on Kanye West? Because I've never heard of somebody losing $1 billion in one day.
I could say it's economic warfare, but as I see it, in some ways, your Kanye West played a stupid game and he won a jacked up prize.
Bit the hand that fed him.
Yeah, he bit the hand that fed him. And sadly, he bit that hand because I believe that allegedly your Candace Owens wound up misleading him, because they wanted her to say some of these things, but instead she found the biggest simp she could find, your Kanye West. And your Kanye West, looking to try to get the approval of Candace Owens, wound up going out here and making these statements, not understanding that making these statements as related to the Jews was the thing that was going to put a nail in his coffin. Because your Kanye West basically was not out here actively looking to support the black community. He got most of his bread from most of these whites and other non-blacks, and he got all of his daily bread from all of these different groups. So these people were the ones who went out here and were the ones giving him these business contracts. They were the ones giving him these lucrative deals, and they were giving him those lucrative deals because they thought he would go out here and say what they wanted to say. And instead of him going along with the narrative, he decided that he wanted to go out here and simp for Candace Owens and support her far right agenda. And since she was out, he wanted to go out here and support that agenda with that first with that White Lives Matter T-shirt, and then going on Drinks Champs and making those anti-Semitic remarks. What he did was bite the hands that were feeding him, and what those hands were saying is, okay, you want to go out here and speak against us? Well, we're going to punish you for speaking against us. Because if you cannot respect us as a people, what we're going to do is take our money away. Now,
can I point something out? I'm just reading this. I'm sorry, Shawn, but I'm looking here. You know, he has an agency company as well, Donda
yeah,
Sports, and Boston Celtics forward Jaylen Brown and Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams have both followed and basically leaving the agency. So let me clarify. Brown says he's sticking with the agency, but he also condemned what Kanye said. Donald of the Los Angeles Rams soon followed and condemned him. But here's the thing. Here's my problem, and Dwan B brought this up. You don't see these same Negroes when black people are in trouble talking about the racism we go through. If you don't speak on that, what the hell are you speaking on this for? We always putting the cape on for other people.
yeah, that's true.
What if they Aaron Donald, you in Los Angeles, what did you say about the city council people that were caught on tape talking about black folks, calling that little black boy a monkey? Where were y'all with the Hispanic council members that have not even resigned? And on top of that, the fact that they openly discriminated, I'm curious, like I said, the biggest question we got to ask is, what happened with the money? Remember, all the monies these city council persons get allocated from the government, they get from the government, they allocate to certain neighborhoods and groups. So if they allocated it based off race, which is discriminatory, as we all know, how did they give it? What percentage they gave it to black people and to blacks, to Hispanics, to whites? That's questions we got to ask. But you don't hear these suckers say anything about it. That's why you don't never follow a celebrity. I'm no fan of Kanye West. I don't endorse what he said, but I'm not going to dogpile on him. I knew something was wrong with him when he said slavery was a choice. I knew something. Let me take that back. No, I knew something was wrong with him when he married Kim K. I knew, oh, there it is. We're not going to get the George Bush don't care about black people Kanye anymore. We're going to get 88s and Heartbreaks, his worst album.
Well, he hasn't been the same since his mother died.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same since his mom died. That's true, too. His mom gave him direction. You called Donald Trump your father, and your real father is still alive.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful.
It is, but he has been getting in with these white folks and all these other non-blacks, and he thinks that they favor him, but they never really favored him. They were basically using him for his influence to make money off of him.
Right.
And sadly, your Kanye has nobody in his corner, and that's why I always said he needed a conservatorship, because he needs somebody to look out for him. Because right now, what's happening to Kanye West is that he has, ever since he's been on his own, he's been taken advantage of by Kim Kardashian. He's been taken advantage of by Candace Owens. And right now, I think he's in this situation right now because he was trying to impress Candace Owens. And because he was trying to impress Candace Owens, he was trying to get points with her, but those points cost him everything. I mean, this is a story of what happens when you have a beta male simp out here and he has nobody to give him guidance. And again, you have a guy who has mental health issues And he's showing me why it's important to have a conservatorship, because when Britney Spears was going off the rails and Amanda Bynes was going off the rails, people quickly got a hold of them, pulled them away, and protected them from themselves. And that's what Kanye needs right now, somebody to protect him from himself, because the reason why he's self-destructing is because nobody was there to sit down and tell him, hey, don't say anything about the Jews. Don't go out here and make these kind of statements, because these statements are loaded and they're gonna label you an anti-Semitic. There's nobody there to sit down and talk to your Kanye and vet these ideas, because what happened to him was he got caught up with these predators, and these predators fed him a whole bunch of far right ideas, and they sent him out there to be their mouthpiece to say the things that they couldn't say, the white supremacists. And your Candace Owens didn't want to say this because she knew it would be the end of her career. And what's happening now is Kanye is being left hung out to dry, and he's being left to take the fall for a whole situation.
Doesn't have a career.
He's done now.
A second, but no, wait, I gotta say that she has no career though, Shawn.
She has no career.
But and I mean, look, she's not had a history of saying stuff like this. The thing is, if she said stuff like this, we pay no attention to it because we know that's Candace Owens. She always gonna talk crazy like she does. We don't pay her no mind. You get the biggest, arguably one of the biggest celebrities, biggest rappers in history to come out and say stuff like this. Everybody know the camera is going to be on Kanye the minute he walks into a studio, the minute he has a microphone in front of his face. Everybody's watching. So, yeah, I think they used him to do that. And plus, he's trying to buy a parlor, but, this is a case if biting the hand that feeds you was a definition. This is it right here.
Yeah.
His picture would be there.
I mean, he just replaced the picture of the Me Too movement.
Yeah. Somebody said, I saw this, I think it was Professor Blacktroop who did a video saying, they're going to make him the next Bill Cosby. Very interesting. He made some remarks about Bill Cosby, actually, that I want to share. And Andrew Wyatt actually had this. Shout out to Andrew. But I want to share this right quick because he mentioned this.
They didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. So by the time they were at the top of the game, they didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. So
every time I click away from it, it's going to do this. So
they were at the top of the game. They didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. So by the time they wanted to make a difference, by the time Bill Cosby wanted to buy NBC, he didn't have the Cosby Show at that time to be able to stand up when they wanted to literally throw him in jail, where they actually did throw him in jail. So people have to understand just the bravery. There's so many people everywhere. I know everyone can relate to being afraid to say what you're going to feel because you feel like you're going to lose something. So whether you agree with me or not, I believe people are going to feel the fact that someone is brave enough to say something. And they're at the top of the game. They didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing.
He has been forced upon us. The reality, we can make our own reality.
Like I said, he's like a broken clock. He'll say the right thing. He can say the right thing at least twice in a day. Shawn?
Yeah, Kanye West, yes, he's like a broken clock. And that makes him a tool that these people use on the far right and the far left. And that's the scary part about Kanye West. People weaponize him and use him as a tool to go out here and parrot the things that they say. And that's why I say, again, he needs a conservator, because he needs somebody to look out for him so that he won't be used as this tool by these white supremacists on the left and the right to say anti-black statements. And these anti-black statements, again, these racists use this to go out here and say, oh, we've got our black guy saying these kind of things. So that means he's with us.
Yeah. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't like the hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I'll just say one last thing. I don't like the dogpiling that's going on. I expect it, but Kanye doesn't have a black. I don't think he has a strong base in the black community, just off the remarks he's made in the past. But I'll say this: the media is not going to dictate to me who I should and shouldn't love, or who I should and shouldn't hate, and how much I should show that love or hate. I'm not doing that. And you would think it's like a damn tag team affair. I mean, everybody is talking about Kanye West. Kanye West took a piss in the wrong bathroom. Kanye West, he ate a sandwich. He ate an egg salad sandwich this morning. I mean, it's just nonstop. Can we stop talking about it? We got other stuff we can deal with. And yeah, he needs somebody in his corner. I think when his mother died, that took a lot out of him. Like, nobody really gets over the loss of a parent. I think even worse, if you can't get over the loss of a parent, I can only imagine someone that's lost a child. That's even worse. But I know people who have, and it's a horrible thing. My grandfather outlived some of his siblings. My grandfather outlived his 2 of his kids. He outlived my grandmother. That was hard for him. The saddest thing I ever saw, only time I ever saw my grandfather really break down and cry was when his daughter died. That's the first time I ever saw him do that. But losing a family member, losing a mother is hard. And obviously she was that voice that was in his head that guided him. And when he lost that, all hell broke loose. Just like similar to what happened with Mike Tyson and Custom Model. When you lose that parental figure in your life, especially at a young age, a very important stage in your life when you're becoming a celebrity, it takes a lot out of you. Please shout out. Thank you for the please donate to the Cash App, PayPal, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna also go ahead. I want to talk about this thing because this I thought was interesting. I don't know. I didn't add this in here, but as you know, there was an event early that was supposed to happen, I believe, this week at Penn State for my family out in Pennsylvania. I don't know if y'all heard this, but the Proud Boys co-founder was actually supposed to do a comedy show. And he's a comedian, I take it. Probably not a good one. And like me, his name is Gavin, except I'm the better Gavin. You all know that. I'm also the funnier Gavin. Just remember who do Charles Barkley. So he had an event on Penn State's campus, and it was canceled due to threats of violence. We're going to go ahead and play this from News Nation. Copyright, fair use, fair use.
At Penn State University. A demonstration on the school's campus on Monday turned violent as students gathered to protest an event featuring the founder of the Proud Boys. Nick Smith is here with the latest. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Mitch. Kelly, just before an event called Stand Back and Stand By was set to start, it was canceled when someone in the crowd pepper sprayed police and protesters. Chaos on campus as a fight over free speech gets out of control at Penn State University Monday night. Students rallied against an event featuring Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes and comedian Alex Stein.
We have about 300 crybabies that want to prevent free speech. But guess what? They are all losers with a capital L. We're going to speak.
But the Uncensored America event would not go on as scheduled. The university canceling it at the last minute over, quote, escalating violence. The scene taking a turn when Stein decided to go into the crowd.
I'm gonna speak.
Local papers reporting a group of people wearing masks doused the crowd with pepper spray. Police used riot gear and mounted officers to disperse protesters. Some students say the event should have never been allowed to happen in the first place.
I understand that we're a state institution and therefore we have to represent kind of a variety of views, but I don't think that giving the platform to white supremacists, no matter what age they are, should they be student age or should they be fully grown proud men.
Penn State issued a statement reading in part, the views and speech of the two speakers at tonight's student organization hosted event are abhorrent and do not align with the values of Penn State. While protest is an acceptable means of expression, it becomes unacceptable when it obstructs the basic exchange of ideas. Such obstruction is a form of censorship.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider.
No thanks. So, Shawn, what did you think of this incident that occurred out in Penn State? I thought this was interesting. They had an event that got canceled.
Well, it's kind of a bad thing for free speech because under the Constitution, people have a right to free their speech that people don't like, and they have a right to express those views. And this kind of violence is very dangerous because this is the kind of censorship that people use to prevent people from having a discourse. So that's the scary part about this. Yes, your Proud Boys are racist and white supremacists, but the way you deal with them is allowing them to speak and allowing people to see how ridiculous their viewpoints are, and then rebutting them with a counterpoint. When you use force to censor individuals like this, all you do is amplify their voice and allow them to have credibility as related to their talking points. Now, if you want to take away their credibility, the best thing to do is to allow them to speak, allow them to show themselves as the fools that they are. And once they show themselves as the fool that they are, the public can realize what a bunch of imbeciles these guys are. And once they realize what a bunch of imbeciles they are, this whole organization will lose all of its credibility. I mean, again, the First Amendment is about protecting speech we don't like. And the whole thing is by allowing that speech to go out here, what you do is allow a fool to go out here and allow him to express himself and show the whole world the fool that he actually is.
Yeah. Let him. So basically, it's a free speech thing. They canceled it. Penn State canceled it, obviously, because they said of escalating violence. I don't support censorship. Even if the person saying it is an asshole. And you know what? Let them speak, and then you speak. And I take it that, especially at that crowd that was out there, they will find in favor of you more than they will find of him.
Yep.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know what comedy event. I honestly don't know what comedy event was going to be funny that was said. I haven't seen their act. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh. I can't say that I'm interested. I'm not. Yeah, one of the Proud Boys, I'm looking at an old comedy hype video. Godfrey called out a Proud Boy with a black wife.
Because the way you deal with these kind of guys is to destroy their credibility.
Yeah. I'm not going to play the comedy hype video.
All right, I'll be right back in a moment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got Shawn coming back. I just want to make an announcement. I do have the paperback version of Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. that's going to be coming out very soon. I would imagine sometime this November we'll have the paperback version ready for y'all, okay? A couple other things. Please support this channel. Donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, and the Zelle that y'all see here tonight. We need more, we love and appreciate you all, your support. Shout out to Darius, Danielle. We got DeAndre. Flat Top, where you at? One who cares. Welcome, welcome.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. You're back. You're back. Okay. All right. Got a couple other things I want to talk about, Shawn. One of the last things I wanted to talk about. First off, had you heard about this thing that's going on with Herschel Walker? We know we have the elections coming up, but it was brought to my attention. Uh, this came up on, I think, CBS News. I heard this yesterday. You know, Herschel Walker is running for senator out there in Georgia against Raphael Warnock, and now they're saying he paid for another abortion. And guess who they got appearing on behalf of the ladies?
Who they got?
Her.
I'm happy to introduce Jane Doe, who will speak via Zoom. Jane.
Thank you. I am here today as a woman, and most importantly, a mother. It's sad that I cannot show my face or use my name for fear of reprisals against myself, my family, and my livelihood.
Now I'm looking at this.
I am no coward.
She's black. It's black
I
the
am a
whole
realist.
way through, guys.
And I choose to protect my identity.
I'm not a fan of Herschel Walker. Y'all know that. But whenever you see this hoe, this old wench, I'm not holding back. And y'all know already about her, where she come from. You know it's a setup. I don't trust. Well, let me stand corrected. I find that. Let me say. I don't know it's a setup. I have suspicions about the allegations. I question the horse where the gossip came from. You dig my meaning?
Yeah.
Gloria Allred is coming after Herschel Walker now. So this proves, guys, it doesn't matter whether you're conservative or liberal. If you're black in America, they will come for you with some BS. It don't matter. You can coon for them on either side. Because it's politics. He's running for office. They know that the Democrats, Gloria awful. They know right now that the Democrats are having trouble trying to get people to come out and vote. So they need to throw stuff at these Republican candidates as much as they can, although sometimes they help themselves with that. They hurt themselves, well, depending on how you look at it. And they got to throw this out. But why are we talking about abortion?
Initially, we had a friendship. We spoke on the phone for hours at a time, several times a week.
So every time you see
he told me that he had problems with his marriage and wanted to end his marriage.
Shawn, what did you think of this?
Quite frankly,
opportunists trying to jump on a bandwagon to destroy a black bootlick. That's what I think this is, because basically everybody wants to turn your Herschel Walker into a big black brute. They had no problem with Herschel Walker's behavior when he was out here and he wasn't running for political office. But now that he's running for political office, they want to demonize your Herschel Walker. And again, I don't like Herschel Walker myself. Basically, he's like a mixture of Forrest Gump and a black bootlick. But the whole thing is that, again, he has a right as a U.S. citizen to run for office. And it looks like those on the right and the left don't want him in that position. So what they want to do is discredit Herschel Walker and hopefully go out here and build up a new candidate to take out Raphael Warnock. So if Herschel Walker wins, he may not be around for much longer because they may just go after him in another way if this doesn't work. So what they're doing is they're saying that he's just a big black brute out here who was just out here lusting after these white women. And they're making it like he was just a whoremonger male who was doing all of these, having all these women. And that's to go out here and polarize many of these white voters to see Herschel Walker is not an option. But the whole thing is that this whole narrative is falling apart because, according to some polls, Herschel Walker is starting to build a lead. So that's what this is all about, just discrediting Herschel Walker, trying to use the old whoremonger narrative that many racists love to use and say, oh, look at this black man. He's lusting after all of these white women. He's having all of these white women. But in actuality, it's just that they want to go out here and groom a white male candidate to take Herschel Walker's position and be the next candidate in the next 6 years.
Yeah. I gotta say this. So we're talking in politics in Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, I want to talk about this. Stacey Abrams supports reparations, sort of. This is an old clip I found. Thank you to brother TD Hip Hop who pointed this out here. This is a clip that Stacey Abrams did on the route talking about reparations. And I want you to listen carefully to what she has to say, if you remember. Now, you know she's running for governor up in Georgia. They started early voting. Early voting, I think, started everywhere, even where you're at, Shawn. So we'll go ahead and play this right quick.
I believe African Americans, or I believe,
So she, just to clarify what happened, she was asked, did she believe in reparations?
African Americans and Native Americans are entitled to reparations. We are the two communities who were legally disenfranchised from the inception of this country. And we are the two communities who had legal structures that were put in place for such a long period of time that our ability to achieve and access opportunity at a level that was commensurate with the rest of America was just not available.
As you're thinking about running for whatever office.
This is the thing I'm talking about, this caping. Why can't she just say, if you're a black woman, why can't you just answer, do you believe in reparations for black people? What are you including Native Americans for? Huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I want to point this out. She mentioned this. I'm going to finish the clip.
Side eventually. Is that going to be a part of your plan in regards to formulating what reparations could look like for us?
I think that we have to have a conversation about what reparations should look like, and that shouldn't be the domain of a single person. In part because I don't know enough to know what the answer is, but I should be a part of the conversation and part of convening those who can provide an answer, because this is a complex issue, and I think anyone who would say that it's simplistic is being disingenuous.
Oh, Lord. Now, y'all think this was in 2019, but do you think she's changed?
No,
Now,
she hasn't changed at all.
I want to play this because shout out to TD Hip Hop. I'm gonna play this if he doesn't mind this clip, because if you remember, we played a video before. Remember, she went into Chick-fil-A, was doing some protesting, and his brother was asking her a question outside. He ran into Stacey Abrams, and when asked about reparations, she said no reparations, as she scurried off to Chick-fil-A. Now, I'm going to play the whole video in its entirety. Shout out to Brother TD.
But according to G, the pilot, the man who shot
all
the video,
goes to him,
her
courtesy of him.
response was no.
Excuse me, I thought you were how you feel about us getting reparations? How you feel about black Americans getting reparations? You said no reparations?
Now, after this video went viral, some time had passed, and then she decided to release this Twitter thread. Why I said yes to reparations, but how you heard no. A not so brief thread on reparations, my track record, and attempts to distract you from what really matters. I was recently asked about reparations in Athens. The sound is obscured, but I said yes to reparations. I always have, but I will never mislead Black people by pretending this is easy. I've had a whole convo about my position as well as what needs to happen next. Here's the truth. For most of my life, I have fought to deliver #tangibles for Black communities, and I deeply believe support must be earned. Black people have long been the margins of progress and wealth generation in this country. As someone raised in the Deep South, my work has consistently focused on closing gaps and centering the needs of Black people. 10 years ago, I launched an organization to increase the political power of Black people and work to register 1 million voters in our communities to transform the state of Georgia. As governor, I plan to create real, #tangible, generational wealth in Black communities. Under Kemp, it will take 100 years to close the Black business parity gap with majority firms. I can close that gap by the time your preschooler goes off to college. The pathway towards change lies in reducing the over-disciplining of Black children in our schools, decriminalizing weed, restoring free technical college in Georgia, and supporting our HBCUs. I am committed to it, and other candidates don't even see these issues as worth their time. We need a governor that cares enough to reduce Black maternal mortality in our state, to protect the Second Amendment and second graders, and have accountability and better support and public safety. Our doubt also benefit from more fairness and equity, but directly tackling our issues shouldn't require denying others. Deserve leadership that sees them, serves them, and believes. I am committing and delivering tangible benefit. Keep asking tough questions. I will continue to provide real answers and respect during this campaign, and I am committed to delivering results. Now, after putting out these series of tweets, I guess she figured that this wasn't enough. So you know what Stacey Abrams and her team did next? They pulled out the big guns for Black Georgia voters. She pulled out good old faithful Barrack Obama, the man who coined the insulting term cousin Pookie to describe Black men who refuse to vote blue no matter who, and instead elect to use their own mind when deciding who to vote for, as opposed to falling into groupthink. Former President Barack Obama is headed to Atlanta on October 28th to campaign for U.S. Senate Raphael Warnock, Stacey Abrams, and other Democratic candidates to help mobilize supporters, particularly Black Georgians, during the final stretch of early in-person voting. Obama's visit was announced as polls show a tight race between Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker, who met in their first and only televised debate in Savannah on Friday. And Democrats hope he'll give a boost to Abrams, who trails Governor Kemp in her gubernatorial rematch. The location of this visit wasn't immediately announced, but the Democratic Party in Georgia stressed it will focus on driving up early voting participation in Georgia. The 3-week early voting period begins Monday, and Obama's visit will coincide with the start of the 3rd week. Obama has staked out a limited schedule of appearances this campaign cycle, and the Georgia visit is one of his only announced events. State Democrats hope that his trip could drive up Black voter turnout and inject more energy into Georgia campaigns in the final stretch of the race. I really, and truly hope that Black Georgia voters can see through Stacey Abrams' BS. Not only does she not genuinely support reparations, but she's also having Barack cousin Pookie Obama show up on the 28th to trigger you emotionally simply to vote blue. She sat up here and proclaimed all this blackety blackness in her Twitter thread, but at no point in that Twitter thread did she actually present you with a Black agenda that she plans on implementing once she gets into office. What she did instead was list off a bunch of general reforms that the Democrats will try to package off as something that they did for Black Americans, when it really had nothing to do with you and wasn't about you at all. Just like Joe Biden recently did when he signed his bogus executive order pardoning all simple possession marijuana charges on a federal level. Now, I did a video on that about last week, exposing who's really benefiting from that, and guess what? It's not Black Americans. And if you want to watch that video, I'll leave a link in the description below. But as I close out this video, to my Black Georgia voters, all I can tell you is weigh it all on a scale. Don't just vote blue no matter who for the sake of doing it. Go see what the Republicans are talking about. Go see what third-party candidates are talking about. And if nobody is talking about anything, then yes, you have the right to sit this midterm out, and you should never be shamed for doing so. I'm hoping that more of us will take the Ice Cube approach of weighing our options on the scale and presenting our Black agenda to both parties. And from there, may the best man or woman win the Black vote. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video.
All right, so y'all heard that from my brother TD Hip Hop. Shout out to him. By the way, all credit to him. That's his video. It has nothing to do with my platform, but under fair use, I wanted to share it. I thought it was a great video that he did. Now just look at this. Gavin Reynolds. It's not Gavin, thank God. For the first time, One Georgia includes all of us. And look where he's writing from. The Root. So this is a 5-minute read endorsing Stacey Abrams. And you see, most people are not going to read, especially most Black people in general. We're not politically astute as others. And that's just real, right?
Yeah.
Vote based off what we look like or what our friends are doing or who this person is. And you know what? Sometimes I'm like that too. If I see somebody I know that's running for something, I'm cool with them. Sometimes I'll vote for them. But I've gotten, I'll support them. I have a friend of mine who's a fellow attorney. She's running for mayor out in Opelousas, her and her husband. You know what? I know both of them. They're good friends of mine. I do everything I could to help them because they're real solid people. I know them. But I'm of the mindset, especially now, when it comes with voting, we got to treat it like business and not personal. But your Stacey Abrams, Shawn, what did you think of her? We were talking about her earlier with reparations and then recruiting Barack Obama to roll up to the hood to do his finger wag. Remember?
It just showed me how disingenuous your Stacey Abrams is. She's sitting here trying to use B1 Black empowerment talking points. And all of us in new Black media know how full of it your Stacey Abrams is. We know that, yes, she can talk part of the rhetoric, but we know that she's completely full of it because if you're out here and you're making these statements, we know that you parroted this off of watching new Black media, but you have no real interest in giving tangibles to Black people, and you have no real interest in giving Black people anything at all. You just want to talk the talk so you can get the votes, and that's what your Stacey Abrams is doing. And what she did when she went out here and got your Barack Obama, what she did was show everybody that she is truly disingenuous, because we know that your Barack Obama had 8 years to go out here and do things for Black people, but he did absolutely nothing at all. You had the man who was controlling the executive branch go out here and not lend a branch to Black people. Instead, he talked down to Black people. And now that all of these leftists are on the brink of losing, they want to come out here and throw these Hail Marys that really aren't Hail Marys. It's all disingenuous. It's all dishonest. And it just shows how desperate Stacey Abrams is, because she knows at this point, when she winds up losing this time, they're going to give her the boot and give her her walking papers, because when she goes out here and loses this time, all of those people on the left are no longer going to support her. So that's the end of Stacey Abrams. If she loses, that's the end of everything for her. So she knows it's over, because she knows that if you don't talk about, you can talk the talk, but the leftists, and especially these Black bootlicks, never walk the walk. So your Stacey Abrams, she's trying to desperately try to get this election to go through, but this election isn't going to go through. It's just going to be the end for Stacey Abrams, and it may be a bloodbath for most of these leftists in November.
Yeah. Do you know, the last I saw, I could be wrong, was that she was trailing in the polls.
Yeah.
They have early voting turnout, or early Blacks will always, I've noticed some Black people in particular, or election seasons, they'll turn out more then than on election day.
Yeah.
You have a lot of the white conservatives that will actually show up on election day. They'll show up and turn out. You know that?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing on the table for us, so we have no reason to go out and vote for anything.
Yeah. So you're not voting. You're not voting for anything at all, not even for a millage.
No, there's no tangibles on the table. I mean, there's nothing for me as related to anything. And if there's nothing there for me, I'm not falling for that game I did back in 1992 when I first got the right to vote. I went and voted for Bill Clinton and most of the blue guys, and all I got was a jury duty notice as my reward.
They're talking about this too. A mysterious robocall trolling Stacey Abrams' stance on abortion. Did you see the video about her abortion?
No.
On abortion, she was on Morning Joe and she made these remarks. And you read Jezebel. If you've ever heard of this company, Jezebel, it's a news website, but you can tell just by it, the name Jezebel, what it's about. And you can see all of its sister websites here. One of them is what? The Root. So people are taking issue because it sounded like Stacey Abrams said that abortion could solve inflation, which she did not specifically say, but
that makes no logical sense.
No, but what she said was enough. What she said was enough.
I would assume, maybe incorrectly, but while abortion is an issue, it nowhere reaches the level of interest of voters in terms of the cost of gas, food, bread, milk, things like that. What can a governor, what could you do as governor to alleviate the concerns of Georgia voters about those livability, daily, hourly issues that they're confronted with?
But let's be clear. Having children is why you're worried about your price for gas. It's why you're concerned about how much food costs. For women, this is not a reductive issue. You can't divorce being forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy from the economic realities of having a child. And so it's important for us to have both and conversations. We don't have the luxury of reducing it or separating them out, but we also talk about what a governor can do. A governor can address housing prices. A governor can address the cost of education. A governor can put money into the pockets of everyday hardworking Georgians instead of giving tax cuts to the wealthy. That's what I talk about on the trail, and that's what's resonating. But let's not pretend that women, half the population, especially those of childbearing age, they understand that having a child is absolutely an economic issue. It is only politicians who see it as simply another cultural conversation. It is a real biological and economic imperative conversation that women need to have.
Huh?
That makes no logical sense.
I would assume, maybe incorrectly, but while abortion is an issue, it nowhere reaches the level of interest of voters in terms of the cost of gas, food, bread, milk, things like that. What can a governor, what could you do as governor to alleviate the concerns of Georgia voters about those livability, daily, hourly issues that they're confronted with?
But let's be clear. Having children is why you're worried about your price for gas. It's why you're concerned about how much food costs. For women, this is not a reductive issue. You can't divorce being forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy from the economic realities of having a child. And so these are...
You know, I don't have children and I'm facing some hard economic realities. My student loans are high. I'm paying bills. I'm paying car notes. Gas is high for me. Food is high for me, right, Shawn? Everybody, you're single too.
It's important for us to have both and conversations. We don't have the luxury of reducing it or separating them out, but we also have to talk about what a governor can do.
I would just vote to vote for the Republican, even if I hate him, just to rub it in their face.
She's clearly out of touch. She's not living in the world of reality.
No tangibles, no vote.
Nope.
And what do you think of Obama showing up?
I think it's they're desperate. They know they're thinking that this is going to appeal to black people, but I don't believe it's going to appeal to black people because black people don't like Barack Obama anymore. We know that he's not for us, so we know not to even concern ourselves when they bring him out. We know that this black bootlick is not interested in going out here and helping black people. It's all about him and his friends as a part of the bourgeoisie. It's all about them going out here and trying to save their position because they know that if Stacey Abrams loses, all of these bourgeoisie bootlicks, they're going to be out here like Roland Martin looking for work and possibly out here with YouTube channels acting just like Roland Martin.
You damn fool. You better get your ass out and vote, the vote. I gotta get my equity so I can keep my bald and S curl together so the White House can give me some funding. I don't care for that son of a bitch.
Yeah. You saw how they fired him, and that's what Stacey Abrams is going to be doing next. She's going to be on there, fired, and sitting up on a YouTube channel cursing out black people and getting upset at black people.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. You damn fool. I'm joined by Stacey Abrams. We gonna be talking about why we don't vote. I have no job. He's gonna be finished. I hope his YouTube channel gets axed. I don't care for him buying views and stuff. All right. Last thing I want to talk about. That's pretty funny, huh?
Yeah.
Fighting back against censorship, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about this because I've been dealing with this issue. I don't really know, I might be joining Roland in terms of not having a YouTube channel. And let me explain why. You all know that I have, in the last few weeks, been dealing with YouTube over content with my videos, having my videos taken down, having my channel suspended and blocked, bogus copyright strikes, I believe, regarding my content, a host of other things. Well, I've taken all that I can stand, and I can't stand no more, as Popeye would say. So I'm going to share this letter with you all. YouTube already has a copy of it headed their way via mail, and I'm also preparing this and prepared it for fax. And I'm going to read it to you out loud. This is to Google LLC, does business as YouTube, 901 Cherry Avenue, San Bruno, California, 94066. I sent this via mail and FaceMail. To whom it may concern. I have been a YouTube content creator for over 13 years. I have been watching YouTube for a long time, but I enjoy being a content creator. However, I'm disgusted at the way YouTube has censored and treated my channel in the past 2 years. I have gotten a hate speech warning for broadcasting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's Savior Day speech in 2020. However, no one can point to me what hate speech was said in this broadcast. I have had both my channels, Jibu2786 and Gavin Richard, taken down for what was believed to be medical misinformation. Again, no one has been able to articulate what was said that was hateful or misleading. As a result of these actions, my channel has been demonetized. I have worked extremely hard to get my channel monetized. It has been brought to my attention that your company has engaged in discriminatory behavior towards fellow Black YouTubers using its algorithm to create a shadow ban. In conclusion, I am demanding that your company would cease and desist in its practices towards my channel. I request that my channel's monetization be restored, my videos be reinstated, a formal apology, and that you would neglect any further molestation of my platform. If this is not done, we shall be seeking justice with future litigation. Thank you. Yours truly, Gavin M. Richard, Esquire. So, I've shared this with you all publicly. If you all know, if I'm not back on this channel, you know why. So, you all know where the Patreon is. I need you to go there right now and hit the Patreon. And it's not just me that they've done this to. They've done this to Shawn. They've done this to Dr. Short. They've done it to TBA. They did it to Dana. Dana had her channel. She couldn't do videos for a week. I'm getting tired of this. The Patreon link is right there. It's the same as the YouTube channel, like I always announce. I've had enough. You can only take so much. Now it's time to fight back. I let stuff go. My channel is, we all adults here on YouTube, by the way, if you haven't figured it out. They would rather people do videos about shaving coconuts, pulling oranges, getting millions of views, rather than talk about who shot Dr. King. And that's the truth. They are participating in the dumbing down of our nation's youth. You wonder why kids walking around, they don't know how to add and subtract. You know that it was just announced a couple of days ago on the news that the test results have been released, and they found that the kids in the schools have done far low. It's the lowest amount that kids learn in school today. In education and reading and math, the kids are failing. This came out on CBS. You know that?
Yeah, I saw it.
The ACT scores are terrible. USA Today just said nation's report card shows how badly we failed kids during pandemic. Assessing math and reading at the 4th and 8th grade level. A sampling of students in every state took the test earlier this year, and 26 large urban districts also participated. The test is usually given every 2 years, but officials delayed the exam for a year because of the pandemic. And they say you can't blame COVID because it wasn't the only one, the culprit. It was a culprit, but there were more than one culprit here. Read this article by USA Today. No, they're messing with everybody's channel, but they're done messing with mine. I'm gonna fight back, and I'm gonna throw hard. We're going hard. I'm having my shit on a website. I keep trying to get Shawn to do some movies with me because we can actually put movies together and create. But I'm gonna do it on my own if I got to, but I'm making my own website. We're putting a website together. I'm gonna put all my content on there. I'm also gonna have interviews up there, exclusive interviews that I'm gonna be doing, and I'm praying it's gonna take off. I know it will take off, but I want you all to take it off with me. I want you to take off with me. We in this together. We're gonna fight this together. They've been doing this for a long time, screwing over people. I'm fed up. You ride in the back of the bus long enough, you're gonna think you belong there. That's what they used to tell the kids during the civil rights movement. If you watch the film Passing Glory about my alma mater, St. Augustine High School, the father was getting off the bus so he could order some food for the kids. And he said, "Oh, father, it's whites only." He said, "If you sit on the back of the bus long enough, son, you're going to think you belong there." He wanted to make a difference. But Shawn, I'll let you have the last word.
Well, YouTube censorship has really been a problem for over a decade and a half now. And I believe it's time for another lawsuit to just let them know that they're violating people's constitutional rights with their arbitrary and capricious mishandling of these so-called community guidelines. Now, I remember being out at YouTube when during the days of the gender war, where we lost lots of great channels like Rick Scorpio and Dan Freeman, and Mr. Superboy lost multiple channels, all because of false flagging campaigns from people who didn't like the fact that black men were speaking their minds and showing living, breathing refutations of these narratives that white supremacists have as related to heterosexual black men. Because there are a lot of people who don't like seeing your heterosexual black men being articulate and intelligent, well self aware on the issues. They don't really like seeing these black men on these platforms. What they want to see are a bunch of minstrels and clowns. And they went out here, tried to create their own shills for a while, but those shills never really got any momentum because people wanted to hear from genuine black men. And even before those black men were allowed to again push back as related to things, we had a lot of people trying to take black channels down, but we had a lawsuit proposed in I think about 2011 or 2012, and YouTube finally pulled back when they started hearing black men saying they were going to get together to file a class action lawsuit because people were seeing this discrimination being targeted at black channels, and we now have evidence of this. So I believe it's time for another lawsuit or another class action lawsuit because people like myself, we have emails and things that show, okay, there's a serious plan where people were doing things like saying, oh, we're going to age restrict your video that was made years ago, and then we're going to use that to put a strike on your channel for hate speech. And that's what they tried to do with my channel, and that's what they tried to do with many other channels of other black male YouTubers. And again, this was all done basically because they don't want to hear black male voices on the YouTube platform or even black female voices because they fear black people starting to create a grassroots on social media. They fear black people going out here and talking about political issues in an intelligent and articulate way. And they hate the fact that new black media talks about things like tangibles. What they want on their platform are a bunch of minstrels like your coons and buffoons, or they want guys like Kevin Samuels stirring the late Kevin Samuels stirring up the gender war where black men and black women are going back and forth, or they want somebody like they allege Cynthia G is talking about aborting black male babies. They want that kind of content. They don't want intelligent discourses like you and I are having. And they hate the idea of seeing two black men working together in an intelligent fashion. And they hate the fact that you have a show that you're presenting intelligent black men having a discourse. These are things that many on YouTube don't like. And it's clear that somebody there at YouTube, and I've even pointed out to their people, is deliberately targeting black male channels. And when I told them this, they tried to deny this, and I have the conversation. They try to deny these things in the chats when you contact them in their whole talking to their people. But there's clearly a pattern because every black male YouTuber and even some black female YouTubers like the Radical Sister and many others, they're seeing their channels hit with strikes and hit with flags. And again, this is because they don't like intelligent black people. Now, if you've got some twerking, you've got some gender war stuff, or you're talking about aborting black male babies, they'll let you stay on the platform. But if you start talking about voting, you start talking about tangibles, or you start talking about black empowerment, or present something even just intelligent like comic book, science fiction, or fantasy, that's when they've got a problem with you because they, in their smooth world, there's only one type of black they want to see, and those are blacks that breathe brand new life into the white supremacist stereotypes from the antebellum South.
Yeah. Well, we fighting back. I gotta take one call before we get out of here. Y'all know the number. I'll call in right now. We can take one call before we get out of here. Let's see who we got. I say $5 says it's gonna be Danielle. Unless she's got the baby buyer. If she's got the baby buyer, then it's probably gonna end up being Black Voltron. I would say it's not Cheryl because I don't see Cheryl here. Cheryl usually will comment. So who gonna call in? Who you think it's gonna be, Shawn?
I have no idea.
Right now, it's fall like in New Orleans. The baby is fighting sleep. Okay, so it is not Danielle. Damn it. So Cheryl's not here. It's not Danielle. It's not Black Volt. I don't see Black Voltron. But I thought he would be calling in. All right. Well, if we don't have anybody calling in, I guess I'm going to just have to go ahead and wrap it up. I think we've said all we wanted to for tonight. If you have any more, you want to tell us, Shawn, tomorrow what your show's going to be about, your live stream?
I haven't figured out what the show is going to be about, so I'm still trying to figure out what I want to talk about. So it just depends. I'm just still trying to figure it out. Usually, this is one of those ones I'm going to have to possibly come up with at the last minute, so it's still up in the air.
All right. Well, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to go to Amazon.com, pick up your order of The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. That is available right now. That is The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. Available now. That is my book, ladies and gentlemen. So I need you all to go there. It's been endorsed by Judge Joe Brown, Andrew Wyatt, and apparently Bill Cosby himself. So you can go right here and pick that up. Also, I'm going to ask Shawn if you could stay on after we go. I want to ask you something. I won't take up too much of your time, but also, since it is the holiday season coming up, get you some Nornish Creole blend, Shawn. Everybody else, well, Shawn has his, but go to NornishCreoleBlends.com. Get your Creole season on. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nornies goes great with every dish, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we have our songs, Video Soul, and Gotta Get On Up. So why don't you all go ahead and check out those two. So before we get on out of here, it's now time to get on up. We've gotten down, so it's now time to get on up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back Sunday, hopefully. We have a YouTube channel. I'm Gavin Reshaw. This is Shawn James. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. We'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Cause on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's feeling. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop, I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Gotta get on up, baby. Come on, baby. Gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.